My name is Elena Park, 32 years old, and at 6:11 a.m. my screen glared back, 14 missed calls from the family group. The top voicemail was my sister Mara's voice, shrill and cracked from crying, "You ruined our lives," followed by my mother's whisper, "Your father. Elena, call me back, please." The apartment was blue with early Chicago winter light. My coffee machine hissed once and went silent. I stood barefoot on cold tile, phone heavy in my palm. The echo of last night's explosion still in my ears. I'm a senior project manager at a healthcare tech firm downtown. The one who color codes calendars and brings spare chargers to meetings. Oldest daughter, dependable, the Park family mule. For years the pattern held. Mara dreamed. I bankrolled. Mara stumbled. I apologized. Mara screamed. My parents nodded. Last night, when I refused to co-sign a $38,000 expansion for her boutique on Milwaukee Avenue, she threw her champagne at the hardwood, glass popping like a snare. "You've always been jealous," she said. My mother took her hand. My father looked at his shoes. I set my napkin down and left. On my kitchen table, under a brass fruit bowl, sat 3 things that would matter later. A manila folder labeled receipts, family, every Venmo, mortgage top-up, card statement, totaling $27,400 over 3 years, a spare key to Mara's boutique I'd never returned, and an email draft to her landlord. Subject line, lease liability clarification. My father's old transistor radio, our summer project when I was 13, rested beside them, open-backed, a curl of copper wire showing. I'd been trying to fix it again, the way you try to fix anything that once made you feel close to someone. My phone buzzed one more time. Mom again. I didn't answer. The kettle clicked. The apartment's heat rattled through the vents like pebbles. In the living room, my work tote leaned against the couch. Inside, a blue binder from last night's dinner printed with the restaurant's crest. "Love is not a blank check," I had said before I walked out. It came out steadier than I felt. The city outside whispered in tires and snow. I pressed play on the voicemail. "Your father collapsed." Mom's voice trembled. "But Elena, Mara needs you to fix what you broke." My jaw locked. The room got smaller. I placed the phone face down and lifted the folder instead. "Boundaries are not betrayal." I said it to the empty room, to my pounding heart, to the radio with its copper coil. Then I started counting. Dinner the next evening was supposed to be a reset. We met at Gogi and Vine in Lincoln Square. White tablecloths, knives whispering against crystal, the kind of place where the waiters refill your water before you notice it's low. I arrived with a notebook. Mara arrived with a ring light in her purse. "I might film a quick reel," she said. My mother smoothed the menu. My father, pallid, pushed salt around his plate. So Mara began, sliding a printed projection sheet Q1 across the table. "With the expansion, we'll hit $15,000 months easy. All you have to do is sign here." She tapped the guarantor line with manicured nails. "It's family." "I'm not signing." I kept my voice level. "I will not be your safety net anymore." Mara laughed, high and brittle. "You're punishing me because I'm the one who chases her dreams." Mom sighed. "Elena, be reasonable. Your sister is building something. You have salary." Dad cleared his throat. "It's just a signature." I opened my notebook to a neat list. Mortgage top-ups 9,600. Boutique emergencies 12,300. The time your car was towed 1,200. The family phone plan 4,300 into years. I brought receipts. Mara's cheeks went blotchy. "So you kept score? That's sick." "It's called accountability. If you're watching this, tell me where you're tuning in from. I'm Elena, and I hope this finds you well." Mara leaned back, eyes gleaming with triumph. "Okay. Then here's my ultimatum. Sign by Friday p.m. or our supplier drops us. If the boutique closes, that's on you. And I will tell everyone you sabotaged your own family." Mom nodded tight. "You know how people talk." Dad's hand trembled on the bread plate. "Let's not." Mara stood, lifted her phone, and snapped a photo of me and the unsigned paperwork. "Insurance," she said, and posted it to her story. "Some people love to watch you drown." The waiter arrived with a bottle. I stood. "Take it," I told Mara, sliding the spare boutique key onto the tablecloth. "You'll need it more than I will." By the time I reached the sidewalk, my phone buzzed with messages. A new one blinked rude and bright from an unknown number. "Sign or we go public with everything." Snow hit my cheek like static. I looked at my reflection in the restaurant window, jaw set, eyes tired, and felt something shift, like a door finally finding its latch. The stakes were no longer a signature. They were my life. Enough, I told my bathroom mirror at 5:52 a.m., city buses groaning awake below my window. I brewed coffee and opened my laptop. Step 1. I finished the email to the landlord, Ms. DeMarco, a woman with a practical bob who liked facts. Subject: guarantor status and lease liability. I attached the receipts family PDF, the boutique's original lease, and our last text thread where Mara wrote, "You'll fix it like always." Step 2. I pulled up my bank and canceled Mara's authorized user card 5600 in charges since May. The last line item, Velvet Finch Champagne 178. Step 3. I drafted a concise message to our family group chat and to Mara separately: clear, kind, unarguable. Boundaries in writing. At 9 o'clock a.m. I took the brown line to the loop and slipped into an empty conference room with glass walls that made the winter sun feel like a spotlight. Evidence in order. Narrative tight. I called Miss DeMarco. The guarantor arrangement was presented as temporary, I said. I can no longer serve in that role. Please confirm receipt of revocation notice and forthcoming transfer of liability. She was brisk but fair. Send it formally. I'll respond by day's end. I pressed send on the formal letter with a small tremor in my fingers. Obstacle arrived at 11:17 a.m. Mom, your father is in the air. Blood pressure crushed. A photo followed the soft tyranny of a hospital monitor. Beep, beep. The green line spiking like a lie detector. The words in my notes blurred. The old panic flared. Be the fixer. Be the bridge. Pay the bill. Sign the line. My chest went tight. I stood at the window, breath fogging the glass. I will show up for Dad, I whispered, and I will not set myself on fire to keep anyone warm. I closed my eyes and pictured the transistor radio. The summer he'd held the tiny screwdriver while I read the manual. Love wasn't alone. It was a workshop table, 2 chairs. At 12:31 p.m. I picked up a cashier's check for $250, 1 month of Mara's payroll so her employees wouldn't suffer, and placed it in a plain envelope. I printed 2 letters, one to Miss DeMarco, one to my family. In the elevator, the envelope felt like a stone. The doors opened onto the lobby's cold marble and the scent of citrus cleaner. At exactly 1:03 p.m. I made the decisive move. I pressed send on the group email titled "Effective Immediately," then I turned my phone to Do Not Disturb, slipped the envelope into my tote, and headed to Northwestern Memorial to face them. Courage is a boundary spoken out loud. The air smelled like hand gel and stale coffee. Monitors hummed a metronome of dread. Dad dozed, face gray but peaceful, 4 taped to his arm. Mom perched in a plastic chair, coat still on, eyes red. Mara leaned against the wall, scrolling, lips pressed thin. I pulled the curtain aside. How is he? Stable, Mom said. They're keeping him overnight. Mara didn't look up. So, did you bring a pen? I set the envelope on the windowsill and opened my folder. I brought numbers. I kept my voice soft for Dad. Over 3 years, I covered $27,400 in family expenses, mortgage, tow, phone, emergencies. Mara, you charged $5,600 on my card this year. The boutique expansion is $38,000. Your landlord has my notice. The guarantor liability ends this month. Here is a $2,500 cashier's check for your payroll so your staff isn't punished. After that, you run your business on its own legs. Mara snapped her phone down. You're unbelievable. Dad is sick, and you're playing accountant? Dad's eyes opened slow. Mara, you owe us. Mara hissed, taking a step toward me. Family means sacrifice. Sign the papers and we'll forget this. Family means responsibility, I said. I will be your daughter and your sister. I will not be your collateral. Mom stood, voice thin. Elena, we don't know business. Sometimes we need help. You do, I said gently. Here is the help. I've set up an appointment with Mr. Alvarez, a nonprofit financial counselor, Tuesday at p.m. I'll go with you. Also, I turned to Mara. The car title is still in my name. The spare key and my parking fob are being disabled tonight. Return the car by Sunday or I'll report it as unauthorized use. The family plan line is moved off my account as of midnight. These are not punishments. They are breaks. Mara's face crumpled, then hardened. You're going to make me homeless. No, I said. You're going to make rent. She lunged for the envelope, tore the flap, stared at the cashier's check. Her rebuttal landed sharp. You'll be alone forever. No one wants a ledger for a heart. Dad's monitor chirped. He exhaled. Enough, he said, voice papery. He looked at me, then at the folder. I didn't know the totals. It's not about totals, I said, throat tight. It's about stopping the bleed. The power shift was quiet as snowfall. Mom sank back into the chair. Mara tossed the envelope onto the bed and stormed out, the curtain, sighing in her wake. I slid the boutique key across the sill and left it there. I didn't need it anymore. By dusk, my phone buzzed. Miss DeMarco had acknowledged receipt. Liability transfer initiated. Irreversible. The old door had closed with a clean, final click. Mercy has a spine. 10 weeks later, Chicago thawed into slush and light. My apartment smelled like orange peels and new books. The transistor radio on my counter crackled to life. I'd finally soldered the right joint, and a jazz station spilled out a warm trumpet that made the walls feel closer in the right way. On my fridge, a magnet held a budget sheet my parents and I made with Mr. Alvarez mortgage, meds, utilities columns tidy, signatures at the bottom. We meet every other Sunday now. My mother brings soup in a thermos. My father brings the tiny screwdriver and asks me what I'm fixing next. Mara moved the boutique into a smaller storefront with low rent and no champagne shelf. She unfollowed me for a while. Then quietly, she texted a photo of a rack she built herself. I made rent today, I replied with a thumbs up and an evening walk suggestion. We're not healed. We are healing. There is space between us now, not silence. And inside it, something like weather moving, changing. Boundaries changed the cast list of my life. I transferred the family phone plan to its rightful owner. My bank alerts stopped popping like popcorn. I kept one line open, my heart to my father. We started walking the 606 trail on Saturdays when he felt good, him in his socks cap, me in my bright orange beanie. He apologized once, in 3 uneven sentences that left us standing under a mural of blue swallows, breathing cold paint and sunlight. It was enough, the quotable truths I carry live small on sticky notes on my desk. Love is not alone, clarity is kindness, mercy has a spine. When I read them, I think of that hospital curtain, the envelope, the way the monitor kept time like a drummer who refused to rush. This morning, my phone lit up again, 14 missed calls but from a Seattle area code, a glitch from my old job's paging app. I laughed, turned off the alerts and made tea. A single new text slid in from Dad. Proud of you. Radio sounds good. The apartment was bright with March sun. The trumpet on the radio climbed and held. I set the phone beneath the warm lamp and watched light spill across the copper coil dot in that small shine. I saw my life as it is now, earned, quiet, dignified. The boundary became the bridge, and I walked across.